Hey guys, Mrs. Cornell here, signing in for another great episode of math, and today's topic is going to be solving compound and absolute value inequalities, and then we're going to graph them. So let's get started. So basically when we're talking about a compound and absolute value inequality, we're taking two equations, we're going to put them together to get one equation. That's kind of the gist of what you're going to be given. And then we're going to get two solutions and put them on a graph after we solve them. Okay, so let's look at our first example here. Okay, so this looks pretty messy. We've got a lot going on, but do not be afraid because I am here to help you. So here we go. We've got a 3y minus 7 in the middle here. We've got two inequality symbols. What we want to do is kind of imagine these as our breaking points, as if we were to solve an equation. Okay, so if I were to cover this 8 and this symbol up, I bet you all of you know how to solve that. Okay, think about that for a second. We'd want to do what? Well, we're going to add the 7, right? That's what we want to do to both sides. If I were to cover this up, okay, I would do that same exact thing, add the 7. Okay, so that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to add the 7, I'm going to cancel that out. So my goal is I'm going to cancel everything but my variable out of the middle. Okay, well if I do that here, okay, and I imagine that that wasn't there, I'd add the 7 over here. And then imagining the 23 wasn't there, I'd do the same thing and add the 7 over here to the 8. Okay, so in the middle now I'm left with just 3y. My inequality symbols come down. Don't need to flip my inequality symbols at all because I didn't divide or multiply by a negative. 23 plus 7 gives me 30. 8 plus 7 gives me 15. All right, and then I want to get rid of this 3 that's in the middle, so it's being multiplied, so I'm going to divide. And again, if I divide in the middle, I'm going to have to do it to both sides over here. So I have a 5 on this side. Bring down my inequality, a y. Bring down my other inequality, and I've got 10. Okay, so this is my solution. I solved it. I solved it, excuse me. Okay, now I'm going to graph it. I'm going to make my nice little number line, just like before in the last video, except for now I only need 2 hash marks. Okay, and I'm going to put my lower number on the left, so 5. I'm going to put my higher number on the right, so 10. And if I look at this chunk right here, okay, it's telling me that y is greater than 5, right? So that's going to be an open circle because remember, if there's no line underneath it, we have an open circle. So if I'm getting rid of this right here, I just have y is greater than 5. Which way would my arrow go? Well, it's open to the variable, or it's eating it, so it's going to go to the right. Okay, so imagine this arrow goes to the right. And then I have my other section of this. Okay, and it's closed to the variable this time. It's also a closed circle. And it would go to the left. So what's happening here is my 2 dots are connecting. And there's my graph. All right, let's look at another example here. All right, we're going to solve this. So we want to get rid of the negative 3, okay, because that's in the middle here. So we want to multiply by negative 3. So again, imagine if that 10 was away, and that's all the problem that I had. I'd get rid of the negative 3 by multiplying it. All right, so I've got negative 6 over here. Oh, I got to do the negative 3 over here as well. Do it to both sides. I've got x plus 4 in the middle, and then I'm going to have a negative 30 over here. Okay, I multiplied by a negative here, though. I multiplied by a negative here and here. My signs need to flip. All right, so I'm going to subtract the 4 here now to get rid of that in the middle. All right, and negative 10 right here, greater than or equal to x, greater than or equal to negative 34. All right, so here is my solution. And I'm going to graph it. So I've got negative 34 here because that's my lower of the 2 numbers. I've got a negative 10 here. And if I look here, it says x is less than or equal to negative 10, so it's going to be a closed circle here. And it's going to go this way because that's less than. X is greater than negative 34. So it's going to go this way, so my two dots are connecting. All right, on to the next one. Oh, shoot, I have a fun fact for you guys. So talk amongst yourselves, or just do this, look at this next problem and see if you can start that a little bit. I need to look at your fun fact here real quick. Okay, so did you know that the last letter of the alphabet was not actually Z? Did you guys know that? Or it wasn't the last letter added to the alphabet? It's actually J. J was the last letter actually invented. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so let's do this last problem. Or not the last one, let's do this next one. So we're solving and graphing this one. This one is actually written as two different problems for us. So we have this and we have this problem. Okay, two different problems, it's still a compound inequality and we're still going to do them on the same graph. So I'm going to subtract 6 here. That gives me negative 10. I don't need to flip my sign at all. Divide by negative 3. And yep, you guessed it, we're flipping our sign because we divided by a negative on both sides. All right, so here is my actual solution, a nice long solution here. Make sure you have the word or in between them. My lower number is negative 10. My higher one is negative 1. Okay, and I'm going to put an open circle on negative 10. I'm going to put a closed circle on negative 1. We should be getting pretty used to those open and closed circles by now. This says k is less than negative 10, or it's not eating the variable, so I'm going to go this way. This one is eating the variable, so I'm going to go this way. And there's my graph. All right. We've got 2 more problems. So now we're looking at solving absolute value inequalities. So we've got absolute value signs and we've got inequalities. We're mixing the two together. Okay, so remember when we solved absolute value equations? Okay, that was 2 videos ago. We isolated the absolute value, so we got the absolute value by itself. We wrote 2 different equations and we changed that last number. So in other words, we changed that 4 to a negative 4. And then we solved both of them. Okay, this is going to work really, really similar when we're doing absolute value inequalities. Okay, the only thing that's going to change is this second step right here. We're going to write 2 inequalities. We're going to change the sign of the last number and flip the inequality sign. In one of the inequalities. Okay, so what that's going to look like. Step 1, we're going to isolate the absolute value. Yep, done. It's isolated. So check, we did step 1. Step 2, we're going to write our 2 inequalities. First inequality is going to be x is greater than 4. So I got rid of the absolute value signs. I wrote my first inequality. My second one, and make that a negative 4. Okay, so we change the sign of the last number, and we have to flip the inequality symbol. All right, and then we solve. So we did step 2, now we have to solve. Well, there really isn't anything to solve here or here, so we're done with that. And then finally, we're going to graph. So we've got negative 4 and 4. We've got open circles on both of them. X is greater than 4 here. X is less than negative 4. All right, last problem. Okay, so step 1, isolate the absolute value. We've got this 2 on the outside here. It's being multiplied, so let's divide. So that gives me 5. So I divided by a positive, so I don't need to flip my symbol. And remember, by dividing by the 2, that doesn't get rid of your absolute value symbols. Okay, step 2, make 2 equations, or in this case, inequalities. First one, 3x plus 4 is greater than or equal to 5. Your second one, 3x plus 4, and that's going to be a negative 5 then, and we're also going to flip this symbol. And then solve. And then here, same exact thing, we get negative 9. And so x is less than or equal to negative 3. And we didn't have to flip any symbols here solving because this wasn't a negative 3 at all. And then finally, my last step is graphing. -3 goes here, 1/3. Notice how I'm always putting the lower one on the left. Okay, 1/3 has a closed circle. It's greater, so it's going to go that way. Oh, shoot. That one was the -3. So that's a closed circle, and it goes to the left. X is greater than 1/3. Go that way. Alrighty, and that is solving compound and absolute value inequalities. Hope you guys learned some great stuff. We will talk to you next time.